ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Gang first, last. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Welcome to Brews and Reviews with Mick and Pat. I'm Mick.
And I'm Pat.
And each week we sit down with you degenerates to pretend we're certified cicerones and cinephiles.
That's right. So grab a cold one and join us as we review True Brewing's Star Crusher and True Detective Night Country Season 4, Part 3.
And if you've been with us before, you know what time it is.
Release the Kraken!
There we go.
You're going to have to time that up, dude. That was all of us. None of us were on.
That was good. It was cacophonous. The highly trained ear may have noticed that 3 beers were opened.
That's because
They were all
double
not
fisting.
timed.
He opened both at one time.
Dean joins us this evening again. It's good to have you back, Dean, on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll do a debrief episode as well with Dean. He went to SHOT Show this last weekend, so we get to talk some cool stuff, Vegas and all that. So, Pat, introduce us to Star Crusher by True Brewing.
Mm-hmm. So if you've been following the series, you know that we're doing True Brewery beer for the episodes of True Detective Season 4 that we review, and this one is called Star Crusher IPA, and we've done 3. So this is our 4th one. We've done 4 of the True Brewings, but this is our 3rd in this series.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they've been putting in some high thumb numbers as we go.
The highest
Mm-hmm.
of any brewery, I think, so far.
They're doing good, and they have not disappointed yet. So now we're into the IPA world.
What was our first 2? Were they IPAs?
Nope. They've been all different each time.
Dunwich is a porter.
Mm-hmm.
We gave it 4 thumbs up.
Wow.
Best porter I've ever had. And I've heard that from 2 other people
Mm-hmm.
that said, I don't like porters, but if I'm going to drink one, it'd be this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then our second one was the Siren, which is their Saison.
Mm-hmm. And it was good too.
That one got 2 thumbs up.
Mm-hmm. And so the can, once again, matte black all around with some wild art on here. And so, Dean, these guys are out of Denver, and they are metalheads, and they at their brew pub, they blast metal music when you go in there. That's just what's playing.
Music City Hot Chicken.
I was just
They've
going to
got some
ask
Music City Hot Chicken.
Because the only other brewery that I know of that blasts metal music in Denver is connected to Music City.
Mm-hmm. So that's what they got in there. They got some chicken, and they have some rowdy graphics and art on their cans. And this one we have, I don't know if this is I've recognized the other ones as famous monsters or urban historical, mythological things. This has a 3-headed zombie skull, not skull, but growing out of each other. But I don't know what this is.
Dude, it's Star Crusher, bro. You can see the stars are aligning.
I do see
on
that.
the can for an eclipse. And to me, this imagery calls hark back upon a classic. Which, shame if you guys haven't seen it, but this reminds me of the special effects in the movie The Thing.
Oh, yeah.
John Carpenter's The Thing, which, honestly, there's a lot of homage to in this season of True Detective. But you guys never seen it? I feel like you guys would know. Okay, all right. Well, we'll do a review of The Thing for some throwbacks. But literally, there's a scene in The Thing where you see some faces splitting apart like this, and it's
Same person, different people.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
The fact that you guys don't know, I shouldn't say anymore.
Okay. What's this little hole that we have in the throat here?
I don't know.
Yeah, you see that?
I think it looks like it's.
Looks like one of those smoker commercials.
Yeah. That's what they put their little voice box thingy to talk to you through.
Anyways, the art's sick.
Yeah, it's wild art.
Looks like something blasting through Earth in the background right before it goes supernova.
Yeah.
It's pretty
is.
sick.
So 7% alcohol by volume, about middle to high standard for an IPA. And what do they have else on the can? We've got their malt, the Troubadour, the Truth, C30, flaked wheat, and Simpson's T50, and the Weirman. Oh, my eyes I might need some reading glasses. What's going on here? Melanoidin. I don't know what melanoidin is. These ones sound less like gun attachments than the last can.
Yeah, dude, the last one was straight up just decked out AR-15 300 blackout. I like the hops in this one, though. The hops sound awesome. Mm-hmm. Pacific Sun, Matuka, and Cascade.
Mm-hmm.
Matueka? I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to pretend like I know how to say it.
Something like that.
But, dude, 7%, brewed in Denver, Colorado. I got to say, it tastes pretty good. Also, as with all their cans, rip the label off and you can recycle the can. Apparently, that works at recycling companies now, I guess. Recycling plants. Sometimes I don't rip it off because I want the person at the plant to get that little bit of, satisfaction, that little dopamine rush of hearing it go.
Or they can look at it and get some good beer recommendations.
True. As in
true.
Everything.
Everything's true tonight. All right, IPAs. The IPA world, it's saturated.
So saturated.
Everybody's doing it. It's like even in King Soopers, 3/4 of the beer is IPAs.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
I feel like it's because you can really not pay attention to make a IPA. You know what I mean? Like brew a beer too long, sits in the sun too long, IPA.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that if you find a good IPA, one that you think is actually good, that says something because a lot of them are very similar.
Yeah.
You know?
When you get one, you're like, well, wait, hold on. Crispy, weedy, a little bitter, a little citrusy.
For me, it's when I find a smooth IPA.
But how do you even describe smooth, Dean?
It's not sharp. What do you want?
I don't know. Would you say a sour or sharp?
Yeah. It's a different kind of sharp, though.
Yeah, agreed.
You know?
I like a crispy IPA. I don't know if I care about it being smooth.
There's like a hoppy sharp, and then there's a sour sharp.
I think a hoppy sharp is more of a scent thing than a taste thing for me. Like it's like oh wow, that smells like weed.
I mean, most taste is scent, so that would
tastes
check
like
up.
Dog food.
Yeah,
that's the biggest dinger that I give to IPAs is if they smell
dog food.
If they smell or taste like the smell of dog food. And you know what I'm talking about if you've lived in Denver. That dog food factory down there, you 100%, you're like, why does this beer smell like this dog food?
Oh, yeah, I love some Purina, bro.
Oh, man. That is wild. That is wild.
I will say, all right, first thoughts. Anyone got anything? First thoughts before we go into the push it through your teeth test?
My first thoughts right now are I'm drinking an IPA. And while that may sound simple, that's all I've got so far because it's so far nothing's extra surprising about it in a good or bad way.
Immediate. All right, I'm going to ask you both questions. You have to respond immediately over each other, speaking over each other.
All right.
I'm just going to go through some IPAs here, and you tell me if you think it tastes better or worse. Okay, hold on. I'm actually going to pull up a couple big name ones.
All right.
So that way
he's getting the big heavy hitters out.
While I'm doing that, you guys go over through some notes and other stuff that you're tasting through.
I feel like Juicy Bits is a pretty top
tier.
We'll
see if he adds it to his list.
Juicy Bits? What? Who is that?
It's WeldWorks.
Oh,
you'll find it everywhere.
I don't really think of WeldWorks for IPAs, but all right.
No, you don't.
So I taste not skunkiness, which is good. Not too much dog foodiness. And I think that one thing these guys have been doing week in and week out is if they've had their beers aren't way out there with like crazy flavors. They're not trying to wow you or mess with the thing that works. They take the foundation of whatever that style beer is and they brew it well, and they brew it right. And so that's what right now with this one, it's just I'm curious how it's going to be during the push it through your teeth test, what things might show up. And as it stands right now, I do feel like I've had a lot of other beers that taste very similar to this one, but I've had a lot more that taste really bad, you know.
All right. Just right off the top of your head, as soon as you know, just say it. Would you drink this over Odell's IPA?
No.
Yes.
Would you drink this over Voodoo Ranger IPA?
Yes.
Would you drink this over Voodoo Ranger Juice Force IPA? Immediate. Come on, Pat. Come on. What'd you say?
They're so different.
What would you do?
They're just
disqualified.
Crap.
Point to the competitor. Dean, what'd you say? Yes, no?
I don't know. I'd have to have it right in front of me.
Okay. Do you guys feel like you know your IPAs pretty well?
A couple. I've known the ones you said so far.
All right. How about the Lagunitas IPA?
I'd have this over. I'd have this over that. Out of Petaluma, California.
Dogfish Head IPA. It's what they're known for.
I know.
It's like flagship of Dogfish.
No dice, dude.
I think I'd still take this one.
Elysian?
I don't know if I've had that one.
Okay.
Who brews that?
Have you had all of these? Do you know what you're reading right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Elysian Space Dust IPA is like one of their most popular ones. You'll see it in a lot of.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have that one.
All right, well, that's kind of the only ones that really matter.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah, those are the big fish. I mean, that was more yeses than nos.
What about Sculpin?
I don't know. Sculpin.
Sculpin's pretty good. I'd have to have these two side by side to see about what I thought about Sculpin.
Ironically, I almost bought Odell's IPA as our backup beer. I should have done it so we could compare.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on this. Thoughts.
Well, you can give those thoughts after the swish test, dog.
All right.
The swish test should only accentuate those thoughts. All right, so while I describe the swish test, feel free to sing along at home. Take a tablespoon amount into your mouth. Dean, do it while I give the instructions. Because you need to talk about it while I'm doing it. Take a tablespoon amount into your mouth.
Oh, sorry, you were talking?
And then let it roll over the back of your tongue. Down the sides, around your molars, right? And then swish it side to side. And then put your tongue against the roof of your mouth. And push your tongue forward to push the beer through the front of your teeth.
Yeah, that tastes like an IPA.
Did it bring out any more extra flavors? Nothing. That usually brings out the strongest flavors in the beer. I'm going to do mine.
Yeah. See, I think that one was surprisingly mild. Push it through your teeth test.
I think this is just a straight IPA. I don't think there's no hidden. There's no. They're just being straight up.
But when you hit the swish test on other IPAs, like if it's too skunky or those sorts of things, they like it. You can feel it, like it's on all over your tongue.
It does reaffirm how smooth it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will say, my swish test brought out the hops, like way bitter. Like the aftertaste right now is like, I border the line, need water to swish it out.
Kind of makes your tongue numb.
Which again, it really will bring out the most central flavor during the swish test.
That's an IPA.
But I've had IPAs where like the main thing is like not as much hoppiness as it is like, Pat said, skunkiness, or other ones that it's way more citrusy, kind of tastes more like orange peel,
like
less like
force and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, okay, well let's give our thumbs. Dean, as always, you're our guest. Go ahead, give us your thumb rating of the beer. Remember our scale?
Walk me through this again.
All right. 2 thumbs up is like, this is in my top 10 beers. This would be like all around some of the best beer I've ever had. Wouldn't ever want anyone to pass up on it, even if they're not a beer fan. 1 thumb up is like, this is good. It'd probably be the thing I recommend for someone as like a first time try for this type of beer, right?
Okay.
It stands out above the majority of the other ones in this category. No thumbs. No thumbs is like, it's not bad. It's not phenomenal. It's just an average, whatever it is. Thumb down is, I don't recommend this to people who aren't really fans of this niche type, like specific type of beer. I wouldn't recommend it to someone to try for the first time for this style of beer. And I don't like it. 2 thumbs down is no one should taste this. This is dog piss. This is garbage. Don't put this in a can and don't make people pay for it.
I'm going to give my rating and then I want to give an explanation too.
Okay, go for it.
All right. I'm doing 1 thumb up.
Okay, thanks, Dean.
Okay.
Irrelevant because you are a guest.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Reason is I like IPAs. They're not my favorite beer.
Yeah.
But this is one of the smoothest IPAs I've had. And I really appreciate that. This feels like one of the most like solid foundational IPAs that I've had.
Hey, Dean, I'm one of our homies. I'm one of our friends. I'm like, hey, Dean, weren't you on a podcast where you talked about how this Star Crusher beer, was it good or bad? I remember you talked about it. Should I get it? I'm not really sure if I like IPAs.
Absolutely.
Okay.
If you are introducing yourself or becoming accustomed to IPAs, this is a great start because it's smooth.
Okay.
And you're not getting anything unnecessary. You're not getting anything that's deceiving. It's just straight up. It is what it is, and it's smooth.
All right. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah. Shouts out to True.
We'll see what Pat's opinion is, and then I'll give mine.
Yep. I am doing 1 thumb.
Wow.
I know.
Dude, Pat, I was really expecting Pat to do no thumbs.
I know. This kind of goes back. Last week, I wavered on the Saison too between 0 and 1.
Yeah.
And it's in the same thing too. So many people have just go out there and mess up IPAs. That this one, I drink it. I'll drink it again. I'll enjoy it. I like it. And so they did an IPA, and they just, if you're someone who hates IPAs, you're gonna hate this because that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Good.
It's good beer.
Good-ish, dude.
You know.
If Pat was going to say thumbs down, then I was going to say, Dean, psych, your vote does count, so that way we cancel his out because I'm going to give it a thumb up too.
The only time I could have been included.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said. I don't really have anything to add. I don't like IPAs that much. I could drink this, pretty easily.
Yeah.
This could be my 3 beers of an evening for sure.
Yeah, if I'm starting out, I'm probably gonna drink something else. But if I'm on my second beer, this will probably be it.
I'll say this, dude. This is a movie beer too.
Yeah,
Like if I got a movie rented at home, about to put on or something.
Dude, this is a campfire beer to me. If I'm at the fire,
it could be a campfire beer for sure.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about like if I'm having 2 beers in an evening, to bridge the course of like a 2-hour movie. I wouldn't mind it like being 2 of these. I'd be fine with that. Alrighty, well, hey, guess what? If you can't tell by our spoopy music, going into episode 3, part 3 of True Detective. So our beer here, True Brewing Star Crusher, got 2 thumbs up and 1 guess's high approval. But Night Country, season 4, part 3. Unfortunately, Dean now must be quiet for the rest of the episode because he hasn't watched it yet.
He can talk.
No,
You know.
no, he's not permitted. Just kidding, Dean. Feel free. Just don't ask like 100 questions that would be answered if you had just watched the show. But anyways, part 3
get ready.
of Night Country sees us with the police department and some, as they refer to, hillbilly redneck volunteers going out to try to find Clark. Clark is the lead suspect in the murder of the rest of Salal Station. And with that, Danvers and Navarro have officially partnered up again. Whether it is through, it's really unclear how much they hate each other and how much they don't. They seem to get along quite a bit. But going through all of that, they find another lead as they go through the evidence of Clark's trailer that makes them question the loyalty of one of their own. Also, Danvers' stepdaughter Leah continues to just be a brat, but also Danvers continues to be a shitty mom. Honestly, as Pat said, when we were watching it, Billie Jean was just like, what are they doing with this? I hope this pays off somehow. And I was like, you know what? That's exactly what Pat said, is that I hope if this kid's story becomes relevant, great. But as of right now, I'm starting to get skeptical if it's just time wasted on an episode that could be spent elsewhere.
Yep.
I don't want it to be filler, but alrighty, let's get into the episode, Pat. Overall, give me some of your vibes and thoughts as we kind of go through the pacing of the episode. Again, a lot of this isn't necessarily like a review of the episode as much as it is just a breakdown and discussion.
Yeah. And I always look at episodes as how they fit into the overarching season and how somebody might think through the pacing of a season and what they're putting out. And is this an 8 episode or a 10 episode?
No, dude, this is a 6 episode.
This is a 6 episode?
Yeah,
we thought we had 10.
Yeah, this season's only 6 episodes.
We're halfway done?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Which is kind of weird because you're like, oh, they didn't have enough content to fill out 10 episodes like the other seasons. And then it's like, oh, but this episode kind of felt like filler.
Yeah.
I thought, like, what is...
This was... I was going to say, this is...
Should have this just been a movie?
This is episode 3 of a 10 episode season. It's where, all right, pilot gets you going. There's mystery. We're introduced to characters. We're wondering what's going on. Episode 2 keeps it high energy, keeps a mystery, but moves the plot forward. Episode 3,
Phil,
we take a little step back, do some filler where we can do some character development, just some little bit of story, whatever. But we're not hitting it super hard. But if this is a 6 episoder, man,
kind of seems like there should be more important stuff.
This should be kind of full throttle the whole dang time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I felt like, it was just, they pulled back, they slowed down, and the story did get moved along a bit, but not a ton in that, we'll see. And so 6 episodes, I'm surprised. And I think that they're going to have to really, the next 3 are just going to have to be
Gotta load the bases at least
the whole time, I mean? And one of them might have to be like an hour and a half. Or
well, I heard episode 6 is 90 minutes.
Okay,
that's which is a good solid like 2 episodes easy. But here's the thing. I'm gonna dig on this episode pretty hard.
Oh yeah,
and just that like my ground my gears, my pet peeves. But I think it was a fine episode. Like, it was still good TV, in my opinion. Still better than the majority of TV. I just finished season 2 of Reacher. I love Alan Richardson. He's a dedicated follower of Christ. He runs his own, like, it's called Insta Church on YouTube. Great guy. Reacher, I love to hate on that show. I love to take big, stinky dookies on that show. It was like, what's the word? A ritual of my wife and I to just shit on Reacher every lunch break we had together and just put an episode on after we make lunch, hate on it.
Yeah.
Now I feel really bad because I found out he's a serious, strong believer in Jesus Christ. And I'm just like, I love this man so much and I feel like a douche. But
hey,
this is his pride and joy.
No, it's not even his pride and joy. He's like, it was fun. I like it.
This is your post-lunch dump.
Also, stop. Don't show that man sprinting.
Yeah, oh, dude, it was rough watching him run, dude.
Listen, show him.
I thought it was CGI. I think it's CGI.
You know how we were talking about how big he is? He is
huge.
Shredded out of his brain.
His pecs could you could get whiplash if you laid your head against his pec and he bounced it. It could seriously do some neck damage.
And so show him picking up like cars and stuff. That's awesome. But then the scenes when he would be running to try to get somewhere, so stiff. Like, get that man a yoga instructor, please.
Also, just I thought it was CGI because I was like, is he moving?
It's skinny jeans too.
Yeah.
They make some pretty flexible jeans these days. There's not an excuse anymore.
I don't know, bro. You watch the season, Dean, and you'd get back to us. It's pretty brutal.
It
sometimes.
Gave me hip and back pain.
Yeah.
Watching him, I was like, oh dang.
Wait,
come on,
all right.
Question
about this particular episode.
Yeah.
Does this feel like it's in not knocking on this show, but knocking on this particular episode because the show was incredible? But The Last of Us, the intermittent episode where there's a gay romance going on, and the episode has nothing to do with the storyline at all. Does that feel like what this is doing right now, or is it going to tie it in?
No, this feels way more focused, way better, way more push. And don't get me wrong, like
The Frank episode also was.
the Frank episode
It was good.
is the same thing as episode 8 or episode 7 of The Last of Us, right? It's or 6, whatever that one is. The Frank episode's good because it builds the world, and it immediately answers about a character all of us cared about as fans. And this episode definitely builds out the world more, but there is definitely things in this episode that I just couldn't look past anymore. And I've been a fan of episode 1 and episode 2 quite a bit. I've made fun of things in both episodes, especially sitting with my wife. Like in the moment, I know I pick apart stuff, and we joke and laugh about it. This one was a little too much for me. Like this one was like,
what about
almost like CSI stuff of like when I was just like, really, really? That's so like, I gotta suspend that much disbelief here. Go ahead, Dean. What was your question?
No, the question is like, what parts of it?
Yeah, so biggest ones, let's just get the gears grinding right away.
Let's get riled up here, all right?
So my biggest beef is that, the clock is ticking, and this is a good thing that I like, that the clock is ticking and that Danvers knows she's only got a couple days left before Anchorage PD or this whatever down in Anchorage is going to take over the investigation, and she's going to lose any ability and autonomy she has for it. And she's trying to make a name for herself because she got set up here, kind of as punitive punishment for being. Let's call it what it is. She was a little bit of a floozy, And I won't say any more like aggressive words, but like we've already seen in the show, she's got a reputation for if it's got 2 legs and a wiener. She going for it.
You might be in danger.
Yeah.
It's like that one chick in the police department. What am I talking about?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyways, so she enlists the help of her go-to like protege. That doesn't seem any way romantic to me. I think it's totally platonic. And he's trying to get this mortician, right? Mortician, forensic specialist.
Yeah.
Out to essentially do post-mortem on these bodies. And he's snowed in from a storm, so he's like, I could get my cousin who's a vet to come down and give us his thoughts, but it's unofficial and off the record because it's illegal to have someone who's not a forensic specialist or mortician to do post-mortem. Even doctors don't do post-mortems, which is a lot of people I feel like don't know. Like if someone's dead, the doctor doesn't say how they died. The doctor says, call it, time, let the morgue do the reassessment investigation, because it's kind of it's a lot of legal liabilities. Liabilities. There we go. Thanks guys for hanging in there. But anyways, this vet shows up and they're standing around looking at these bodies. Indeed, you haven't seen it, but I'm gonna make a face here and I want you to tell me how I died. You see me, I'm naked, my fingers frostbitten.
You should have left out the naked part because I probably would have guessed that based on the face. Maybe.
No. Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, fingers frostbitten, a little bit of chewing on them, self-biting wounds
on the fingers.
Yeah, and like a homie next to me has clawed his eyes out.
There's like 5 dead people.
Yeah,
in a pile.
But
we're
we're all frozen. Let me finish the imagery before you ask questions.
All right,
okay.
All right.
We're all in a frozen pile of ice and snow together, like contorted. And this is the expression you see on my face. And I'm like literally naked, leaning back with that expression on.
You died by saber-toothed tiger.
Okay. Okay. Was it freezing to death? Did I die from freezing to death?
No, dude. You died scared.
No one dies freezing to death like, I'm about to go. Let me give it this one last good bit.
They're in the fetal position. It looks like it could be a Brokeback Mountain situation because everyone's together and they die in a ball.
Yeah, it's not even like Brokeback. It's like, I don't care that you're naked, I'm naked, and we're out here in the snow. I am so scared of what's coming at us that I'm throwing my hands up to defend myself and dying, like literally frozen in an expression of fear, screaming, eyes white, right? And so it's like this vet literally, the Detective Danvers is like, what can you tell me about how they died? And he's like, well, I've seen animals on the ice freeze to death. They curl up in a ball, and then they go to sleep. It's peaceful, not fear. these men didn't die of freezing to death. They died of fear. And I was just like, I literally looked at Billie Jean. I was like, no shit, dog. And I literally gave her the face of like one of these dudes that they focused on. I was like, does that look like he died freezing to death?
Oh, God.
And Danvers, like, rather than be like an opportune moment to have like a McConaughey, Woody Harrelson clap back to like Captain Obvious stuff like they did in season 1, Danvers is just like, oh yeah, oh, like just like okay, like this is like
Good
not
thing
a,
you came.
Good thing, yeah, good. I didn't know about that.
I would not have been able to pick that up.
I was just like, it didn't even line up because she seems like a very capable detective outside of that.
This
but
guy's
that
a
was just
real
like
expert.
But also in this town, small Alaskan town, has a big mining operation going on. There's a hospital that's like the size of what would be seen in like a larger town, I think. And the hospital's full of doctors and nurses running around, a lot of emergency stuff, whatever, right? But like we see scenes in the hospital and it's busy and it's fully staffed, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, the hell is she doing calling a vet in?
Mm-hmm.
Just go over to the hospital, like, hey, doc, I know you're off in 4 hours. Can you come over and look at the corpses?
Yeah.
And it's also not like, it's not like it's a secret thing. They're thawing out in the city's ice rack and like people just walking off the street to take a glance at them. Like literally, bro, like there's someone, like there's people just like walking in. They're like, oh yeah, so these are the bodies. These are all the dead guys. And I'm just like, don't, like, let's not just be like, whoa. We can't have the doctors coming over for like, you know, crime. We got to maintain
And we got
the
a
scene.
vet coming?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there was that. And then the last one that I have beef with so far that I'm picking apart is like, several more times they've mentioned and shown the dirty water polluted from the mine. Now I'm going to be critical of like, why is there dirty water when there's clean frozen water all around you for thousands of them? You'd think we'd solve the dirty water pretty quick here, but it's literally the ground is water. Okay, guys, just thaw it out. But all that said, the dirty water is reemphasized several times, and everyone's having their hallucinations of seeing dead people, talking to dead people, hearing the voices of the dead, seeing a hallucination of a polar bear. I think that was a hallucination. The orange being tossed back. All of those are when people are alone, and my biggest concern is that it's like, and right now it's not obviously hallucinations. Like it is left very open to be spiritual messages, literally seeing the dead, talking to the dead. And all that, it could be that spiritual, could be that spiritually heavy. My concern is that they're just going to use, dirty water gave you hallucinations as the scapegoat of all this stuff that makes no sense. Like, really?
Yeah.
Dirty water was Travis Cole leading his ex-lover out into the ice, and he's been dead for 10 years?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, that makes no sense.
When we talked about the first episode, we got into a lot of like how this season maybe getting into more supernatural stuff, and we talked a lot about how are they going to take it down a supernatural route, or they can explain it all away, and because when you do too much heavy emphasis on the supernatural mystery stuff, if you explain it all away too quickly or too simply, then it just devalues the whole setup, right? And so I think there's a very good chance that they could slowly get away from all the supernatural pieces and just, like you're saying, it's the water, and it's the,
which is such a cop
depression
out, dude.
So we'll see if they cop
Michigan?
out.
It's done all the time, bro. It's like all the time they do it, or it's a dream, right?
Yeah.
Like it's those two things are never good payouts to your audience who have invested and tried to solve stuff.
The first two episodes really focused heavily on season 1, tying season 1 into this season. Where'd that go this episode? Were there? I didn't catch any. And
photographs of the crime scene and the tattoo. The spiral just continually referenced.
Right.
But.
And so they had that in there still, but then they don't need to pull back. They needed to pull back some and just not rely on that the whole time. But then they just stopped that whole and maybe they had some very like obscure Easter eggs in there that some people caught, but for the most part, I feel like they still should have had something to kind of engage us into the Tuttle stuff or something, especially like you said, it's only 6 episodes. If they're uncovering this much greater, bigger connection and all this stuff, then they missed a chance to at least throw something in there.
Yeah, and I think too, like now that I'm remembering more and more of season 1, like season 1 ended with like all the Tuttles basically dead. Like the cult was done. And so like part of me is wondering like what is this Tuttle organization still operating, maintaining shell company, funding the Salal research? Who is that? Because I don't know if a lot of people remember, but the final episode of season 1 shows the dad of the Childresses, Earl Childress, and his sister, half sister. He's been dead a freaking long time in a shack on a bed.
Yeah.
Which was the last Tuttle that they were able to track down.
And so is it just money, tons of money that was held in has this lab research been going on the whole time onward since through a trust?
But you'd imagine there's got to be someone from season 1 to connect it, make it make sense, and be like, oh, this is how Tuttle the organization still lives. This is how the cult still lives on up here, right? Or how it's involved. So all that said, I don't really know, but it's I'm a little skeptical, but I do think that there were still a lot of good parts in this episode, a lot of things I enjoyed. I enjoyed essentially getting the McConaughey, Harrelson back and forth between Danvers and Navarro.
Yeah, they're driving.
Right? Yeah, and with rather than having the religious but philosophically skeptical guy driving, you get Danvers, who's like what's her line is like, it's not going to be extraterrestrial werewolves. It's going to be logic and facts that reveal what's going on. We just don't know what it is. We're not asking the right questions. And then you have Navarro, who's like spiritual, still an investigator. I don't think Navarro has given me this stuff of like, she's not giving me the vibes that she thinks it's all ghosts. Right. And that this is going to be like a demon. Right. It's not that. I think she still believes like the murderer is a real person and it might be spiritually motivated. Right. Like someone, like maybe they killed some people or something, and like there's a little bit of a culty witchcraft thing going on.
But 5 people dead, frozen.
Oh, it's more than 5, bro. It's more than 5. I think it's like, what was it? It's 6. There was 8 at the station, 6 in the ice. A 7th was pulled out, de-thawed. He died at the end of this episode. The 8th guy they believe is the perpetrator out on the run on the ice.
They thawed him out and he was alive?
Well, he started screaming after his arm got cut off because they were trying to chainsaw all the guys out. Bro, you got to watch it. It was insane. But I thought that conversation was pretty good. The back and forth seemed fine. And then when Danvers asked, like, well, what do you pray about, Navarro? Navarro said, I don't. I listen. 3rd time she's like heavily stated this consistently. And you could see like shuts Danvers up. Like Danvers doesn't go like listen to someone who's not there. She doesn't say anything. She stops. You can kind of see like, I almost thought I saw her like envious. Like, gosh, I wish there was someone talking that I could listen to. Especially when we see Navarro have her slip on the ice. Looks to be like she's back. She's in her uniform, but it looks like she's in Afghanistan where a military convoy truck is blown up and on its side. And there's like some fire around, boxes around. And then this little brown hand in a like onesie reaches out and says, tell my mom this. And it looks like it's Navarro's child. I mean, Danvers' child that she lost.
He's holding the polar bear.
Yeah. And so like all that blending in together, it was like, and here's the thing, dude. So many people are like, this is dumb as shit, bro. There's too much spirituality, too much ghost stuff, too much whatever. I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm okay. I'm really okay if it's ghost stuff. Like, I'm okay if it's pretty much in the same vein as The Terror. And it's like, no, dude, this really did happen, or, whatever, like grounded in reality. Like, this is a brutal thing that happened. Also, folklore, some spooky folklore stuff going on. But I don't know, Pat, what about you? What thoughts on this past one? Anything from this episode that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think the one of the parts that really was maybe the most revealing or one of the best parts to kind of carry the character story forward was the flashback to Danvers is telling a story when it's Pete, right? Her little guy who never gets to see his wife.
Little helper.
Yep, Peter Pryor asks, what happened between you and Navarro? Why do you hate her? And she tells a story of the abuser, and they a classic abuse story case where the police just couldn't do anything about it because she wouldn't report, but they always knew there was stuff going on until one day went too far and he kills her. And Danvers tells him the story of it being a murder-suicide and says when we got there, he was dead. But the flashback that it's showing, it shows both of them walk in the room and he's alive.
He's alive,
and
whistling Dixie.
And they're drawing down on him. So
Navarro, too, in that flashback seems focused, like very professional. And I think Danvers' face in that flashback seemed disturbed. Like she's got her gun out pointed at him, but she's looking at the dead woman a lot.
Yep.
I can't tell. Who do you think? It could be either. I think the show's alluding that Danvers.
I think Danvers smoked
snaps.
him.
I don't think it was Danvers.
Really?
Because why would Danvers be mad at Navarro? Clearly, Navarro didn't rat out Danvers.
Right. I mean, I don't know, because you had the theory about last week, and it still could be your theory about,
I think that one's trash now.
I think that, but what I was saying, there's parts of it that are true but in this case.
In this case,
right?
Yeah.
Because what you said was where Navarro wanted to go by the book, Danvers wanted to cover something up. And so, I don't know.
I think it's going to be flipped, bro.
Yeah.
I think, because I was waiting on my head, what makes more sense? Danvers kills this dude. Navarro covers it up. Danvers doesn't get any real punishment. Because all this is happening while Danvers has already been punished and sent up here.
And she would owe Navarro.
She would owe Navarro.
Not to send her off somewhere. So I don't know.
So what really happened? Navarro snaps. Danvers has to cover for her. Danvers kicks her off to the state patrol. Which I think that would be more likely, and also a twist that we're not expecting, because Navarro seems mostly in control and less frantic than Danvers. But remember when she acted out and poured the alcohol down that dude's gas tank?
Oh yeah.
Like she does little things of acting out her like total like dominating Kavik while he's like, whoa.
Yeah.
She's just like riding him out of like you can tell you're like, whoa, something just happened. Like I think this guy's lost all control of the situation. It's just like one of those things, like she's got like little things that showed like make me think like she might not be as
stable or like
single-minded.
Yeah.
And I use single-minded specifically because we see her mom appear to be bipolar or schizophrenic. Her sister's definitely schizophrenic.
And she has some wild visions.
What if what if Navarro is like dual split personality stuff? And there's some theories out there on the Reddit saying Navarro's the murderer, dude. And she doesn't even know it. Think about how she reacted when she saw her mom's necklace in the car. And she's like, what is this doing here? Tosses it out the window. Dude, what if it was like a necklace she was wearing in her other split personality and just hid it in the car so the other one wouldn't notice it? Like I'm talking some real Jekyll Hyde stuff.
Yeah.
That's not my theory. But I do agree with you. I do think that flashback is going to be like super revealing of their characters for sure to us.
So I think this episode, we've kind of said what we think about it, but you have some theories.
I got my theory, and I'm just going to blast through it real quick, right? Let people analyze it. Again, this is compiled off of a lot of reading and lurking on the Reddit and just cobbling things together. But all right, one, those guys out on the ice, Dean, you said they looked like they were afraid of a saber-toothed tiger. They died of a saber-toothed tiger chasing them. I think it's Kavik's dogs. I think someone, might not be Kavik, but someone used his dogs to essentially, once the Salal team was lured outside or whatever got them outside, the dogs were used to push them out. Push them out further. And someone was like, take your clothes off at the threat of these dogs barking and biting at their heels. And tell me, bro,
checks out.
You see some freaking like sled dogs ready to tear you apart. You wouldn't be taking your clothes off in the Arctic. I would.
Yeah.
Like I'm more scared of dogs than I am the cold. The other one, they showed in like a X-ray, and it's not really an X-ray, but it's like the print dusted and grabbed and then rolled out and then held up behind an X-ray lamp but it's a partial handprint collected from the Salal station, I believe, and it shows a thumb, index finger, and middle finger, but they say it's a partial print because it doesn't look like they got the entire fingerprints, and they didn't get the ring and pinky finger. In the opening scene, we see this lady Blair being comforted by one of her co-workers in this crab packaging plant, and literally as she's like rubbing her hand, we see she's missing she's missing her ring and pinky finger. And she's also, her name is Blair, and the person that they suspect of committing the crimes is what's his name that they're looking at on the ice for? Clark,
yeah.
Blair and Clark were both up to no good in The Thing. The Thing, the original movie, most everyone went by last names, and Blair and Clark ended up being people who were highly suspect of nefarious things. So like they're kind of like showing a pattern there with some of this naming, right? And it's definitely intentional, right? Because like they've already done like 2 philosopher name drops, like that kid's name is Darwin. And then there's like the lead of the Salal station that was literally like Robert something. It was like straight out of, you know what I mean? It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a name right out of like a textbook.
Straight up like Socrates or something. It was like Robert Socrates.
It was like on the nose. Alrighty, so then Sedna, I found this one out on the Reddit. This one's really due to the True Detective Reddit. Sedna is the Inuit goddess of vengeance in the deep sea. She's missing fingers because she was holding on to her father's kayak, and her father cut her fingers off so she would sink into the water and he could kayak away, leaving her. Lots of underwater imagery in the opening of the show, which wasn't seen in the first episode, but you know the opening is revealed completely for the second, you know, every episode afterwards.
There's a lady sinking.
And the garage that the protesters go into has graffiti of a woman sinking in the water. Her hair kind of coming up by her and her eyes. And so Sedna being killed by this man, wrongly unjust, fingers cut off, resembles the imagery of Blair, her fingers cut, like being removed, probably by her abusive partner, who protected her before Navarro arrived. One of her coworkers, another woman. What was behind their heads in the scene where it shows the coworker holding Blair, comforting her, saying, "Oh, he came at and I hit him with the bucket." And
I don't remember.
Behind their heads is a sign with a crab on it. But what are the words around that crab? Blue King.
Oh yeah, Blue King. And Blue King's advertised throughout it's like also an advertiser in the hockey rink.
And what do we see on the signs when we first see Earl Childress in season 1 while he's mowing lawns?
Yellow King stuff.
Not Yellow King.
Or not Yellow King, but
it says Lawn King.
Lawn King, right.
But it's a sign on a fence used in reference to when Matthew McConaughey meets him. Walks up to him. And so I think in here we've already seen that either Blair and this other woman are involved, because we also saw other woman here in the grieving for the death of the infant, the stillborn birth, with several other like Inuit women from the community, Inupiaq. And I think she's definitely involved. I think Blair might have replaced the role that Annie was playing for this like woman cult of Sedna. And I think what we're going to get is like an inversion, right? Like we've had a whole inversion this series so far of like our leads are now no longer 2 men, but 2 women. Our victims are no longer women. They're men. Makes sense that we're not dealing with a man cult. We're dealing with a woman cult.
All right.
And here's my last bit of evidence. I didn't type it out because I want to drop it. The actress who played Betty Childress in season 1 is referenced as a cast member for season 4.
Really?
Yeah, and her name is not Childress, if I remember right. It's referred to as Betty Elizabeth Tuttle. So my whole suspicion is that she comes back as the sole heir to the Tuttle Foundation somehow. I don't know how. It makes sense because she was pretty mentally disabled in season 1, if I
This
recall.
is the lady who's like in the house.
Yeah, like
with,
make me feel flowers.
Oh my! Oh no! Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's gonna be back in this season somehow.
Maybe she was just putting a
I don't know.
fake on.
I don't know if I believe that.
No, that's a stretch.
But anyways, my belief is that there's a lady cult, worshippers of Sedna, wanting to punish all these miners, all these Solal folk. I think the punishment for the Solal guys was not because they killed Annie, but because they knew too much about the organization from Annie. Like Annie opened her mouth, and so the women cult framed the miners, cut her tongue out, all that stuff.
Wow.
And that the Solal guys had really found whatever the Tuttle cult wanted them to, and now was trying to keep them from going public with it.
All right.
So who knows, right? Who knows? And also the gesture of like folding someone's clothes as like a semblance of like they're dead now. I have some remorse over them dying out here. They weren't really criminals. They didn't deserve it, but we just had to. And that like that mental folding of the clothes out on the ice, such a feminine thing to me. And hey, come at me, boys. Come at me, boys and girls, for assigning gender stereotypes to behavior of criminal psychology. But it's a real thing. Read books. Literally, one of the things that a lot of women have done after smothering their children is go and fold their laundry. Isn't that fucked up?
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so that's my theory. We'll see if it comes true. It's
like
also not my theory. It's like 4 theories from Reddit all wrapped up into one.
I like it. I think that
the depth that people have gone through in Reddit to analyze anything, but just in this particular instance, pretty incredible. Like there's some.
I think
aware
season
people.
1 is deeper.
like,
Agreed.
Reddit
Yeah.
needs to get on top of cancer treatment. Like like the amount of like focus that like people
Well,
put into.
dude,
I
Reddit
know.
is cancer, so
I know,
they
right,
would need
right.
to treat themselves.
I know, but like if you could focus that amount of like the energy that Reddit commenters put in, if that could be focused into and harnessed for the greater good of
Infinite
mankind.
power, infinite energy.
But these are some good theories. I think
Thanks,
1,
man.
they could be true. 2, they could turn out to be better than the real story.
3, they could be true detectives.
Yes, this is true.
Anyways, thanks for joining us for True Detective, Night Country, season 4 of the show, part 3, and True Brewing Co. Star Crusher.
Star Crusher.
Star Crusher. I almost said Star City Crusher. It was a good IPA. It's got 2 thumbs up from us and a thumbs up from our guests, so that's pretty good ratings. And this episode, I still give this episode like I still give it a thumbs up. It was still good. The effects were great. It wasn't cheesy. No awful caribou CGI.
You're telling me that the people in the ice wasn't cheesy?
No, it looks
No, it's
legit. It
rowdy.
looks real.
You need to go watch the
Really?
show.
Yeah, dude. Dean, it's good. Okay.
But they only got 3 episodes left, so they better start ramping it
Yeah,
up.
they got to put the pedal to the metal. We haven't gotten the big shootout, but I tell you what, I think my theory about the shootout being between the miners and the protesters and someone going like rogue on the miners is becoming more and more true.
I think it could happen.
And I think Leah could get clipped, dude. I think Leah's going to get clipped in some scuffle with the miners, which I would be okay with.
Because they're not really using her for much else
No.
besides pandering.
Yeah, for real.
So we'll see.
Sounds like a dead person, if you ask me.
What? You mean our lesbian interracial couple is going to be used as leverage to thrust the plot into a darker direction?
They died in The Last of Us.
They're going to be
so-
martyred? Yeah, no, true. Right, you're true. They will probably do that. Anyways, thanks for joining us, Ken. Pat, you got any other sign off you want to give?
No? Get on YouTube. Check us out. That's where we're throwing stuff up.
You can definitely watch the podcast, listen to the podcast on anything else. That's also great. But YouTube is where all of our efforts at because that's where we're getting the biggest response right now.
Yeah. So check it out. That's all I got on this one. So till next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.